Do you believe if someone told you that a plane crashed because a crocodile was on the loose within the plane? What if a plane crashes because a bride decides to have her bouquet thrown from a plane? What if you read about a plane that crashed because a pilot allowed his son and daughter to pilot it? Leave all that. Here's the most weird story, perhaps. A plane crashed because the pilot and co-pilot started making love while airborne. Well, all these stories seem to be movies of some kind. Watch till the end of the video. Believe me, it'll be worth it. Hello and welcome to Plane Crashes Explained, where we discuss some of the most mind-blowing reasons and facts behind the most heinous plane crashes. Subscribe to our channel and press the bell icon so you don't miss future updates. Without further ado, let's get straight into this. Philair's Let L410 Turbolet Plane Crash. Philair's Let L410 Turbolet passenger plane crashed on approach to Bandundu Airport in the Democratic Republic of the Congo on August 25, 2010, killing all but one of the 21 people on board. According to reports, the occupants rushed to the front of the plane to escape a crocodile smuggled on board by one of the passengers. The maneuver harmed the aircraft's balance to the point where control was lost. The plane was on a domestic round-trip flight from Kinshasa, Democratic Republic of the Congo, to Kiri, Bokoro, Samendwa, and Bandundu. While on final approach to Bandundu Airport at 1300 local time, the aircraft crashed into a house about 1 kilometer short of the runway. According to most reports, no one was hurt on the ground. 19 people were killed instantly, and 2 survivors were taken to the hospital, one of whom died from his injuries. Only one of the 21 people on board, a passenger, survived. The majority of those killed were Congolese. There was no post-impact fire, which led to the initial speculation that the aircraft had run out of fuel. The Congolese Ministry of Transport has investigated the accident. There was no confirmation that a fuel shortage caused the crash. According to the only survivor of the crash, a crocodile smuggled in a duffel bag by one of the passengers escaped shortly before landing, causing panic among the passengers. All passengers followed the flight attendant into the cockpit, and the resulting shift in the aircraft's center of gravity resulted in an irreversible loss of control. The crocodile reportedly survived the crash but was killed by a machete blow. Aeroflot Flight 593 crash. Aeroflot 593 was a regular passenger flight from Moscow's Sheremetyevo International Airport to Hong Kong's Kai Tak Airport. On March 23, 1994, an Aeroflot Airbus A310-304 flying the route crashed into the Kuznetsk-Alatau mountain range in Kemerovo Oblast, killing all 63 passengers and 12 crew members on board. The plane flew from Moscow's Sheremetyevo International Airport to Hong Kong's Kai Tak Airport in the early hours of March 23, 1994, with 75 people on board, 63 of whom were passengers. Kudrinsky, the relief pilot, was taking his 2 children on their first international flight when they were brought into the cockpit while on duty. Kudrinsky, co-pilot Piskaryov, Kudrinsky's son Eldar, age 16, and daughter Yana, age 12, and another pilot, Vladimir Makarov, flying as a passenger, were thus on the flight deck. Kudrinsky let the children sit at the controls while the autopilot was activated, violating regulations. Yana first took the pilot's left front seat. Kudrinsky changed the autopilot heading to give the impression that she was turning the plane, even though she had no control over it. Eldar took over the pilot's seat shortly after. Eldar, unlike his sister, used enough force on the control column to override the autopilot for 30 seconds. The flight computer responded by switching the plane's ailerons to manual control while maintaining control of the other flight systems. Eldar had gained partial control of the plane. The autopilot, which no longer controlled the ailerons, compensated by pitching the nose up and increasing thrust. The autopilot's display screen went blank at the same time. An automatic system lowered the nose and sent the plane into a nosedive to recover from the stall. Although Kudrinsky and Piskaryov regained control and leveled the wings, they had no idea how far they had descended during the crisis, and their altitude was too low to recover. The plane crashed at high vertical speed of 70 meters per second. On impact, all 75 occupants were killed. A bouquet of flowers caused the plane to crash. When it comes to flying planes, it only takes a moment to let your guard down for a flight to go wrong. Consider the aircraft that was destroyed by a wedding bouquet in Tuscany, Italy 2 years ago. According to reports from the British Broadcasting Corporation, a bride and groom who intended to add a creative twist to the flower bouquet throwing tradition inadvertently caused the plane to crash. couple had rented an ultralight plane to fly over the women attendees and throw flowers to them at Montini Park in Suaverto near Livorno in western Tuscany. Instead, the plane's engine sucked the flowers up, catching fire and exploding. As horrified wedding guests looked on, the plane crashed into woods near a youth hostel housing 50 children. Nobody was injured inside the hostel. Isidoro Pensieri, a plane passenger, suffered serious head and facial injuries and 2 broken legs. The victim, 44, was the one who threw the bouquet out of the plane. Luciano Nanelli, 61, the pilot, escaped without serious injury. Fortunately, the bride and groom were not on board. The United States 1991 plane crash. Staff at a Florida airfield were shocked to see a flying lesson ending in disaster right before their eyes. The light aircraft wobbled and then literally disintegrated in midair, killing both the student and the instructor, the latter of whom was an experienced Army pilot who had served in the Vietnam War. According to the crash report, they were discovered in a state of voluntary undress with the front right seat in the full aft reclining position. To put it another way, it had been converted into a bed. The occupants apparently decided to make love during the lesson, and this improper in-flight decision caused the plane to dive. According to the sheriff's department, the uncontrolled velocity tore a wing off and opened the fuselage like a can opener. Now, this has not been confirmed that just 2 people out of nowhere decided to have sex in the middle of the flight, because if you want to do that, at least have the autopilot on. That way the plane would still fly. But all in all, many sources confirm that the plane crashed because of 2 people who decided to make love. Bergen Air Flight 301 crash. Bergen Air Flight 301 was a chartered flight from Puerto Plata in the Dominican Republic to Frankfurt, Germany, via Gander, Canada and Berlin, Germany, by Turkish-managed Bergen Air partner Alas Nacionales. The 757-200 operating the route crashed shortly after takeoff from Puerto Plata's Gregorio Luperon International Airport on February 6, 1996. All 189 people on board were killed. The pilot error resulted from receiving incorrect airspeed information from one of the pitot tubes, which investigators believe was blocked by a wasp nest built inside it. The aircraft had been unused for 20 days and had been sitting without pitot tube covers for the 2 days before the crash. Investigations later revealed that the plane was flying at 220 knots at the time of the crash. According to the investigation, one of the 3 pitot tubes used to measure airspeed was blocked. Because no pitot tubes were recovered, investigators could not determine what caused the blockage. The black and yellow mud dauber, a type of solitary sphesid wasp well known to Dominican pilots, is thought to be the most likely culprit. It tends to establish its nest in artificial cylindrical structures or make its own cylindrical nest out of the mud. Several other factors were identified during the investigation and changes were proposed. They confirmed that the pilots should have followed existing procedures and aborted the takeoff when their airspeed indicators began to diverge as the plane accelerated down the runway. Shortly after Flight 301 crashed, the airline's overall image and profits suffered greatly, and some of its planes were grounded simultaneously. Bergen Air declared bankruptcy in October of the same year, owing to safety concerns following the accident, which decreased passenger numbers. Bergen Air's bankruptcy was exacerbated by the crash and the subsequent negative publicity. All of these crashes happened because of the stupidity of people who just wanted to have fun. No one should ever forget that when you're airborne and so many lives depend on you, fun is the last thing you should be thinking of. Risking somebody's life isn't fun. These people learned it the hard way. Do you know about any ridiculous air crash incidents? Please share it in the comment section so we can make a video about it. That's all for today. Make sure you like the video and share it with your friends. Thanks for watching.